The TimeSpan class is used to store lengths of time. You'll use it in this lesson to calculate the length of time between two dates. The DateTime class is used to store and manipulate date and time information, but it isn't capable of measuring a length of time. DateTime objects are covered in Session 5 of the Essential Skills course. To begin this lesson, open the TextLand project from your Sample Files folder. And open dates.aspx in Design View. When this page is complete, it will display the length of time between the two dates entered into the text boxes. Now open the code behind file of dates.aspx. You'll first need to add code to retrieve the dates from the text boxes. Add the following code to the button Get Date Difference click event handler. DateTime date1 equals datetime.parse textbox date1.text, and datetime date2 equals datetime.parse textbox date2.text. The parse method of converting string data to datetime data is covered in Session 5 of the Essential Skills course in this series. This code would cause an error if the user entered an invalid date into one of the text boxes. You'll learn how to use the try-parse method to convert data without causing errors in Lesson 4.8. Next, you'll need to add code to get the time span between the two datetime values. Add the following code on the next line. TimeSpan date difference equals date1 minus date2. This creates a new TimeSpan object that contains the length of time between date1 and date2. The reason you're able to do this is that underneath all of the datetime object's functionality is a single 64-bit integer that represents the number of ticks since the 1st of January in the year 0001. If you examine the properties of a datetime object, you'll see this as the ticks property. A tick is the smallest unit of time that C# is able to measure. A single tick is 100 nanoseconds. There are 10 million ticks in a second. Finding the difference between two datetime objects is simply a matter of subtracting the number of ticks in each object. You could do this manually if you wanted to, but the TimeSpan class provides a lot of useful properties and methods to make lengths of time easier to work with. Because the number of ticks in a datetime object is limited to the length of a 64-bit integer, there is a maximum limit to the dates it can store. The datetime class is only capable of storing dates up to midnight on the 31st of December in the year 9999. Finally, you'll need to add some code to display the number of days between the two dates in the Label Date Difference control. Using the days property of the TimeSpan object, it's simple to output the values you want. Add the following code on the next line. Label date difference dot text equals date difference dot days dot toString plus days. Now let's test the page. View dates.aspx in your web browser. change the dates if you wish, and click Get Difference. The number of days between the two dates is displayed. Using the default values, there are 206 days between the two dates. Now close your web browser and return to Visual Studio. Before concluding this lesson, let's examine the other features of the TimeSpan class. Add a new line of code at the bottom of your method and type DateDifference. The IntelliSense menu appears, showing you the properties and methods of the TimeSpan class. As you can see, the TimeSpan class contains properties for the number of hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, and even ticks. The TimeSpan class also has methods, allowing you to add and subtract time. And you can also use the CompareTo method to compare two TimeSpan objects. Now remove the line of code you just added. Close Visual Studio now, saving your changes if prompted. You've now completed Lesson 2.5. Use the TimeSpan class.